Good morning, everyone. Like in the last class, we are trying to see the validated example here. Okay, we'll try to run same example one more time. So in the last class, we are having some error. Run as server. So here we are using the Tomcat server here. Observe here, initially what we are doing here, we are trying to load a register page. Once the register page is loaded, we are trying to make some validation here, right? So the validation we already implemented using the particular which pattern, like these are coming from the okay, main page is loaded. We'll go back to here. This pattern is annotation coming from the which. So here you can identify javax.validation.constant.pattern. Getting the point. So this is the package name where this particular pattern annotation is resides. Okay, now on top of this particular fields, we added some of the patterns here. Okay, now whenever I want to make without adding the field, so if I'm going to click on this submit, we need to identify the particular message here. So you can check here. So we are getting some information here, something called the password must be a 6 characters. First name cannot be include their numbers. Some message I added here. Getting the point. And you can identify this field, it's not moving. So now still we are in the registration page only. We are not moving any other page. So if I'm going to give some information, so we can check. Okay, still we are already. We'll go back to the home page. Just refresh. Okay, so the values are not loading, I guess. So basically, we're able to see the validation information here. But now what we can do, we'll check with it inside the debug mode. Still we are getting any errors or not. Where we can put debug here in the console, the controller class called home controller. Here we can add a debug point and let's run the same example in the debug. Okay, now let's enable the breakpoint here. Something I want to give some field information here. Okay, so some number. Let me. So now the debug point is connected here. You can check here, any errors coming. What happened? Okay, still it is loading. So once it is completed, we can check here. Okay, so still we are getting this particular error object here. So because of that, we are returning the register page here. So why we are getting, even though if we specified username on the object called register value test. Okay, so we are getting some error here. Object collection exception, retrieving the field. Let me check here in the particular register object. Okay, we are getting an object information here. So address test, email test, first name test. Some values we are getting here. We can check here information we are getting here. But still, why this error is coming? Let me run. So we will save one more time here. Okay. So let me enable the breakpoint. Username, password. Some number I given. Let me click on the register. So the breakpoint is received here. Okay, still we are getting an errors here. Okay, because of this, we are getting. Go back to here. Regular expression we specified. Username cannot be included the numbers. Okay. Why this particular regular expression is not handling here? Okay. So we'll try to focus on the another annotations here. So other one also having the same problem. Okay. So I guess, can you reconnect one more time? Observe here, we'll try to add with a different annotation here that is called
Maybe due to some versioning that we are using Hibernate version, string different like that. That's why it is not working properly.
Sorry?
So this is not working, right? Maybe this is because of Hibernate one version, Spring other version. Maybe that version compatibility, because of that one, this is not working properly.
Hibernate version.
No. The Hibernate we are using 4, right? Spring we are using some particular version in pom.xml file. So because the versions, maybe particular version, for example, particular Hibernate version, particular Spring version we might have used. So that maybe because of that problem, this is happening, I'm asking.
No, actually that is problems. So basically that's going to give some dependency exception. So we'll see this time. Okay. Let me run one more time. So
These are Hibernate annotations, right? This on RTMP
yes,
is supported by
yeah,
Hibernate.
these are Hibernate annotations only.
Validation, Hibernate validation.
Yes, these are coming from the Hibernate validation. Okay. True. Okay. So why it is giving still true? Okay. We'll check with a different one.
Is there any difference between validated and valid?
So basically the valid is going to work on the each field. The validated is going to work on the group of fields. It's like an object. No. How it is treating as a numbers? Okay. So we'll check here. Basically, that has to work here. No. Okay. So how exactly it's working internally? Not empty, not blank. So this is not related to. Okay. So just ignore. Basically, even if you specified the property, still it is coming. Okay. I will need to debug more like how exactly the object is constructing is nothing but this particular result subject here. And I will update you in a tomorrow class. Today I will check with this the internal working style of this particular binding result. Where we are missing any configuration we are missing, I need to debug. So it's going to take some time to debug. What I will do, so we can work on this example in tomorrow. Right. So dependency is correct. We can work on there is no problem in the dependencies. So we can easily.
Dependency also we have that. This is JavaX validation.
Hibernate validation?
No, this is different validation.
No, I did not understand.
Maybe with Hibernate, this dependency also maybe we have to add.
No, actually, that is fine. The dependency section is everything is fine. So this is basically something we are missing here. But whatever I given, everything is correct here. So we don't want to give any other than this. Still, it's not taking here. The object is still, it is not coming as empty. Okay, so we don't want to waste. I will update you on tomorrow. Okay, so what we can do, we can move on to the another concept here, except this. So we can work on the Spring related example is completed as of now. So now on the Friday I explained like communicate with the database to work on the Spring MVC with Hibernate or JDBC example, because all the example we covered already. So just accept here what you need to do in the particular the file called spring-solid.xml. You need to specify the Hibernate configuration related information or JDBC configuration related information to work on the those example here. Right now, and what we can do, we'll check with how the same example how we can run in the Spring Boot. Like whenever we are running with the Spring Boot, what are the advantages we are going to get? Right now, we'll check with the REST template example using the Spring Boot. So here we'll work on the particular Postman to work on the CUD operations here. So something called update and delete or insert and get the.
In Spring and here everything you covered with XML only, right? So we have other options also, right? We can use Java configurations. Whatever we are mentioning in XML, we can write Java configurations. That also we can do, right? So normally, which one is most preferred, this XML one or Java configured one?
Basically, Java is going to give more performance compared to XML is going to give the performance compared to the annotation. But day to day, the each versions are increasing. So because of that, all the applications are migrated into the annotations. Even they are not writing any single line of code using the XML.
Okay, because we use a huge XML file. Normally in industry, mostly they will prefer the Java-based connotations only, right?
So that is I'm explaining. Now all the applications are migrating with annotations. Initially they are working with XML. So now they are not working on the XML. Each and everything is communicating through the annotations only.
Okay.
Okay. So now just add the, each and every information and work with the Spring MVC, JDBC and Hibernate examples here. Okay, now So to work on the Spring Boot, what I will suggest you, so we'll create a one more. This is the STS I downloaded here. So this is the STS I am going to work on the Spring Boot related example. So it's going to give some more features compared to the normal Eclipse here, because this STS also is going to work with the same functionality which are available in the Eclipse. So just added some of the other features. So like, what are the other features? We'll check here. Now I'm creating a new workspace here. Okay, we'll see what are the advantages we are going to get when we are going to work with the Spring Boot here. Getting the point. So initially, what I explained, when the Spring is started, so we check with XML example, and we are communicating with the components as well as dependency injection, right? So in the 2.5, they introduced the component-based related annotations. So that is nothing but the stereotype annotations as well as auto-wired and component annotations are introduced. And in 3 version, they introduced the Java-based configuration, that is nothing but configuration, right? Property source. So we have identified some of the Java-based annotations here, and totally we worked on the annotation example. Getting the point. So even though initially we work with the configuration called XML, after that we moved on to the annotation example. But so still, what we are defining here, whenever we are working with XML as well as annotation, first we are trying to communicate with the configuration information. Later we are working on our business logic. Is nothing but we are trying to develop the application. So basically, when we are going to work with the Spring, we are trying to focus on the more and more on the configuration part. Once the configuration is successful, we'll move on to the development code. Right? Is nothing but we are trying to implementing the business logic here. So in Spring Boot, what they provided, so they implemented auto configuration here. Auto configuration. How exactly the auto configurations we are going to get, that we will see. And the only one advantage here, we are going to get auto configuration. Whenever we are going to specify the starters, so we are going to get an auto configuration. So just we need to specify the starters. The starters already introduced in the Spring 5.0. So if you want to check here any Maven repository, sorry. The 5th version onwards, they introduce the starter related. So when specifying the starter information, whenever we are specifying we can check here. So this contains this particular web. So internally, it's having 8 to 10 dependencies here. Internally, it's having 8 to 10 dependencies here. Whenever we are adding this particular starter into our particular project, what it will do, all the dependencies going to download it with the version also. We don't want to specify any explicit version of each dependency. So this is the one more advantage we are going to get whenever we are specifying the starter here. The first one, we are going to get auto configuration. Even we are not going to write any XML, or we are not going to write any web.xml file, and even we are not going to configure any server also. So these are the advantages we are going to get with the auto configuration. And whenever we are specifying the starter, so all the dependencies, by default, all the dependencies are going to download it with each version, whatever the version is going to support it to this particular starter. Getting the point. So simple, if you specify this particular web, internally is going to download the Spring Core as well as Spring Web, Spring Web.webMVC, as well as something called, if we require any jar related, something server related, those server related jars also is going to download something called Apache related Tomcat jars here, and as well as any web pages related jars or dependencies, something called internal resource related information. So those information also is going to download it here. And so here, when we are working with the normal Spring, whenever we are specifying the Hibernate core, we are going to get a class not found exception. It's nothing but, so based on the version, whatever the version we specified, we are not finding the proper dependencies here, right? But when we are working with the Spring Boot, automatically, whenever we are trying to specify what it will do, all the dependencies are going to download it. So observe here. So I will create a simple starter project here. You will click on this Spring Starter project here. So some of the information is going to download from this URL, and here we can check with Spring Boot 07. Right, we can work on the where, and the language we are going to work on the Java, and here it's going to support to Maven or Gradle. We can work with Maven. Okay, group here we can work on the Java technology artifact. We can specify the Spring Boot 07 version. We can specify the initial version. Okay, now package. The package here, Java technology. Okay, so here what I'm doing here, simply I'm trying to add web starter. So this is the web starter we are going to add, and you can check with is going to provide more information here. Now I'm adding web starter, so it's going to support these many information. Whenever if you are opening SQL, you can check here JDBC API, Spring Data API, and something Hibernate DB2 driver, H2 database, MySQL, Postgres. Getting the point. So these many is going to support here in the SQL. So we can check on the testing web. So in the web only we have added this particular the Spring Web here. So this is the way it's having different starters here. Now simple, we want to check with the web only. Okay, whenever we are adding the particular web starter, what it will do, all the dependency, what are the dependencies required is going to download it here. So not only this, we can communicate with the web browser. Using this one also, we can create a project here. We can create a project same how we created. So the group and artifact to demo, and the name of the project, description, everything we can specify the artifact information. So here we can specify the Spring Boot, which version we are trying to work, and Maven project or Gradle project we can select. So Java, it's going to support. So 3 languages here. Here we can add the dependency section. Once it added, we can download the one zip file, and the same zip file we can add it into the Eclipse or STS. So this is where also we can create the project here. Right. So this is the better option to work on the STS. So you can identify STS also. It's look like a same like Eclipse. Based on the Eclipse, they added some features. So this is we are not able to see on the Eclipse. So something called Spring Boot. Getting the point. This particular Spring Boot database dashboard we are unable to see on the Eclipse. Other than this, every information we can find in the Eclipse here. So this is one more. Here using this we can run on the Spring Boot related applications here. Getting the point. So some advantages we are going to get when we are going to work with this STS. STS is nothing but Spring Tool. Okay, now it is imported. So we can check here internally. It's going to specify some project structure here. Here the resource related information we can specify, And this is the business related classes, whatever the classes we are going to specify. Here we are going to specify, right, Maven dependencies. So we can check here what these are the dependencies going to added. So what we added here, only the simple starter we added here. Simple starter we added. Based on the one starter, these many dependencies are downloaded. These many dependencies are downloaded. How these many dependencies are downloaded? We'll go back to the pom.xml first. Now you can check here, this is the parent. So based on the parent tag, all the dependencies are going to downloaded. So which version we are specifying here? 242. Right. And now you can identify Spring Framework.boot and artifact ID, something called spring-boot-starter-parent. Based on this particular parent, what it will do internally, whatever the dependencies are we specified, those is going to download it. Observe here, we specified only one. Whenever we are specifying the web, by default, this particular Tomcat is going to add, and as well as some test dependency here. Some test dependencies. Right. Now, what we can do, we'll check with the dependency hierarchy here. So just check here, whenever we added this particular Spring Web, internally, so Spring Boot Starter and Spring Boot Core Context, so auto configuration, one more jar is added, getting the point. So I explained just now auto configuration. Based on this particular auto configuration jar, we are going to get the auto configuration information. So these are the logging frameworks here. So logback core, SLF4j, we have identified log4j. So these are the logging frameworks here. And JSON. Whenever we are working with REST APIs, so we are going to work on this particular JSON jars here. So something called Jackson, all comes under the JSON libraries. And this is nothing but Tomcat. So to run on the particular server, what is happening here internally, the Spring Boot Starter Tomcat, one more jar is going to download it here. This we have identified web beans, WebVC, context, we have already identified in the earlier examples here. So these are the dependencies are automatically is going to download it here. Getting the point. Now, so what we can do here, simply we'll go back to the application. We'll create a one class here. Home controller. Home controller, and the package available inside this particular class is available inside the controller package. What I'm going to do, simply I want to return one object here. Controller, I'm making this particular class, and so we can check here. So here we are not going to work with any pages here. So simply one object we are trying to return here. So get home you can define. And what I will do, request mapping slash. Observe here, if I'm going to run this example using Spring Boot, so we can check here. Basically, this is the logging information we are getting. Whenever we are running any Spring Boot application, by default, logback is one logging framework is available. So it's going to provide this information. Right. Now observe here, the application is started. Application is started here, and this is the port is running. Which port here? 8080. Getting the point. Now what we can do, we'll go back to here, localhost 8080 slash. So what we are getting here? Some error page we are getting. So this is the by default the error page implemented in the Spring Boot. So this message is coming from the slash error. Whenever the error is coming, what it will do, it will go redirect to the particular request to the slash error. So this is nothing but slash error, and this information is coming from the slash error. Some information is implemented on the one class. I will explain later. Okay, now observe here. You can check here the request is received, but still what we are expecting here, the welcome to Spring Boot we are expecting. Welcome to Spring Boot. Now observe here why we are not getting. So simple one, instead of controller, REST controller I want to add. Instead of controller, let me save the same example here. I want to add REST controller. So I want to explain here the difference between controller as well as REST controller. We'll go back to the same example. We'll see. So observe here, welcome to Spring Boot. So welcome to Spring Boot we are getting. But initially when we are working with the controller, we are getting some error here. Whenever I change to the controller to REST controller, we are getting some message here. Basically, when we are working with the controller annotation, if you are trying to return an object, right? Basically, whenever we are trying to specify here it is not going to check with any pages here. Getting the point? Because all the object is, it's going to run on the, whatever we are trying to return here is going to check with the object style, not on the internal resource we resolver we identified in the last class. Getting the point? So the Spring Boot is going to work on the REST template architecture style here. Getting the point? Is nothing but whatever we are trying to return here, so it will treat it as a object here. Getting the point? So now whenever we are working on the controller, what we need to specify here? So we need to specify something called response body. We need to specify response body. The response body is going to treat it as an object, whatever we are trying to return. Here. So observe the same example here. Using the controller, again I'm trying to run here. Okay, application is started here. Now we'll run the same example here. Observe here, if I'm going to refresh how many times, we are getting welcome to Spring Boot. So what we understand here, the REST controller is a combination of controller plus response body, right? And when we are working with the controller, explicitly we need to define the response body. So here, this particular welcome to Spring is going to treat it as a object here. So it's not going to treat it as any view pages here. So the logical view pages, it's not going to work here, right? Now back to here. So anywhere we specified any web.xml, or if we specified any something called the specific configuration file, we did not specify any configuration information here. But how the example we are running here because of auto configuration. So we'll check here. We are going to have auto configurations here. So these are the different types of auto configurations we are going to find in each one. Getting the point. Now, so basically we need to check with the main class here. So this is the Spring Boot 07 application. Based on the project name, the class is going to create it. Observe here, up to be specified, this is the package name and name of the application is going to appended here. Right. Now observe here. So this is the main class. Whenever we are going to run any Spring Boot application, the Spring Boot Spring application dot run method is going to call here. And this is the static method here. Based on the class name, we are going to call the run. But here we are not going to run here. So whenever the Timecast server is started, internally is going to run by specifying this particular Spring Boot 07 application. Getting the point? Okay. And this particular Spring Boot and application annotation is going to have so 3 types of annotation internally. What are the 3 types of annotations here? Basically, one is the configuration annotation that we have identified, and one more. So we have identified component scan. Getting the point? Component scan also we have identified. So the final one, enable auto configuration. So this is the newly added in the annotation in the Spring Boot. So what it will do is going to enable the auto configuration. Right. Whenever we are specifying the Spring Boot application, it's a combination of 3 annotation. One is the component scan, one more is a configuration, and another one is a enable auto configuration. Getting the point? So based on these 3, the auto configuration is going to enable and without adding any single line. Right. Okay. Now, how exactly is going to add? And when we work with Spring JDBC, what we specified here, we have added the configuration as well as JDBC template here. So at the rate bean we specified, right? At the rate bean specified, and we created something called JDBC template object. JDBC template object. And here, if you want to work on the explicit configuration, again, what we need to do here? So we need to focus on the same configuration which we specified in the Spring with the JDBC, right? Configuration, right? We need to specify the configuration annotation, and we need to specify this particular bean tag. We need to specify the JDBC template object here, and internally the JDBC template is going to depends on the data source. Internally, it's going to depends on the data source. So the same data source we need to specify here. Right. So instead of making a configuration explicitly, so what we can do, whenever we are adding the particular starter, what it will do, internally the auto configuration is going to enable here. And one more important here, we are having Acutor. We are going to call Acutor here. So observe here. So this the new concept we are having in the Spring Boot here. So something called ACTU. So this is the new concept called Acutor we are going to call here. So what it will do, this is going to provide the information of this particular application, right? So how exactly the application is functioning internally, everything we can check with this particular starter. So this is the one starter is available in the Spring Boot. So we'll check how exactly using this particular starter, how we can identify the application health and the status, everything we can check here. So that we can check later here. And these are the main components here. First one is the auto configuration. First one is the auto configuration. The second one is the starters. Right. The third one is this particular Acutor. And this particular actuator, we are not going to work on any production environment. So basically, while developing an application, we can check with this particular application functionality how exactly it's performing. Right. So this is the main components are available in the Spring Boot here. And one more I explained here. So using the Spring Boot Spring tool STS, we can work on the creating an application, or we can check with the web-based interface. That is, we have seen the URL based, and we can work with IntelliJ IDE. IntelliJ IDE also is going to support here. Right. Now, so what are the drawbacks we identified in the Spring, and what are the advantage we are going to get in the Spring Boot here? Only one advantage, that is nothing but auto configuration. Right. Remaining everything we will copy from the Spring only. So that we have identified the controller. Even the REST controls also is coming from the Spring. So that's the reason I did not like explain in the Spring, because so here we can check the example and the differences we can identify how exactly the REST controller is working. Getting the point. So now if you want to check the particular the directory how exactly it's working, we'll focus on the now the same example we can run with using command line also. To run the command line, what we need in the command line, we need to install the particular Maven. We need to install the Maven here. So it's little bit taking some time here to load the application. What happened? Okay, let me open one more time. Okay, so it's not going to work. We'll go back to the directory. What happened? Okay, so it's not loading. Oh, it's taking some time here. Okay. So my system is a little bit slow. So we need to wait some time to work on this particular. Okay. Now, server is stopped here. How we can check whether the Maven is installed or not? So this is the command. You can add Maven, MVN. So it's going to specify whether the Maven is installed or not. So it's taking some time to run.
Suresh, you mentioned this actuator we cannot use in production, right? But in production, how we will monitor the application without this actuator?
Logs only.
Oh, only logs. Because if we want to configure like Prometheus and Grafana, we can monitor the application, we will not use this activated endpoint itself.
Yes. So this only testing purpose we are going to work here, and in local application is working fine, definitely. So in the production also it's going to work. And in the production if we get, so we need to debug the log messages only. Where exactly we are getting. Based on the logs only we can identify the particular exception. Okay. Now you can check here. So I did not add any command. So that's the reason we are getting some errors here. But even though the Maven is installed in my local here. Now observe here. So this is the command is going to specify the directory, the structure of our application here. So internally it's trying to build this particular application here. So each and every jar is downloading here. Once the download is completed, we can see the structure of the project, how exactly it's connected. Still it is downloading.
So this means exactly what it is being doing, downloading all the dependencies what we mentioned in the project.
Yes.
That means here internally, locally, it will just create that to run the application that the environment is creating.
Yes, using the Maven command also, we are going to run the Spring Boot application here. And first, initially, we'll check with how the structure is created here. So that is we have seen using this particular STS is nothing but the main classes and when is the main business logic we are going to write inside this particular SRC main Java. This is a one source folder and this is also one more source folder. But here we are making some difference here. Here only we are going to add resource information, right? And this is the test related. If you want to add any test cases, we can write inside this particular test. These are the system libraries and this is the Maven libraries. So this is the way the project is going to provide the directory here. But same thing we are trying to find using this particular command. This is the first time we are trying to execute this application. So it's going to take some time because all the jars it needs to download. So observe here, you can check here, this is the project structure, how exactly it's working, and we can check here how each jar is connected here. So this is indicating, you can check here, each line is indicating how exactly it's communicated here. Getting the one. So this is nothing but the particular project structure here. Some test jars, so something called engine and validations and embedded WebSockets, something called parameter names. Each and every jar we are going to find here. Right. Now, if we want to run our application, how we can run? So this is a command to run our application here. So we'll get the same message information here. We'll see after scanning this particular project here. It's taking some time to build one more time. Still it is compiling.
Is there any specific advantage if you run from terminal other than from that Eclipse?
No, there is no advantage, but it is a one optional one more, like instead of working on the most of the people, if they are trying to work with any command line, basically this is the some Linux when the DevOps engineer going to work on the Linux side. So again, they instead of going to the Eclipse and run the application, so directly they'll come back to the command line. They will add the commands to run the application, whether it's working properly or is giving any exception. So that is an easy. Observe here, application is starting here, and we have identified the logo also here. The same messages, the log message we are finding here. And now we can check here. Observe here, the same message we are getting here. So you can check here. Tomcat is started here, and this is the port. Now we can identify the Spring Boot application started. We have given the request. That's the reason we are getting completed initialization in 3 milliseconds. And now observe here. Welcome to Spring Boot. So this is the one more option we can run with the command line also. Getting the point. So this is all about the Spring Boot basic advantages here. So we'll see what are the advantages having, and we can work on the more example using Spring Boot here, and we'll try to add the different starters also. You can check here, we did not add any server information also. We did not add any server information. That is, we have identified whenever we are adding the servers, so this folder we are going to get, but there is no any folder in the Spring Boot. So how exactly it's running? Because of the particular jars here. The jars we have already seen here. Those jars, something called Apache, where the Apache related jars are available. You can check here. Tomcat embedded core, Tomcat embedded some WebSocket. So whatever the dependency jars are available, those are jars are is going to download it here. Right. So we'll continue the remaining example tomorrow. And first we'll check with the particular validation example, why it is failing. And after that, we'll work on the Spring Boot with the REST template examples. Any questions?
Yes, I have one question regarding the previous class. So normally when we did work with the Spring MVC, most of the times we use associations, right? We use most of the time cascade.all only. Can you just explain when we have to use merge and persist, detach? So when what scenarios? Can you please give some 2 to 3 minutes explanation on?
So merge and persist.
Yeah, persist and detach also with respect to associations actually.
Okay, we can see. After completion of, we can have one class. We'll focus on those
That's
examples.
one, and the other one is this transaction management, right? You explained we have so many options. So whether really we use all these things in normally in industry, or maybe any specific things we are going to use, because we just mentioned so many things on that day. So I was not able to catch up those things. I know I tried to read off to Google also. I didn't get proper understanding. If you just use for 10 minutes or on that also, it will be good.
I didn't understand what you are asking in the transaction side.
No, transaction management, we have so many like read only. So you just mentioned a lot of options, right, in transaction management.
Yes.
So those things, which option, when to use, just can you give me some 5 to 10 minutes? Not now, maybe once this is over, at least at the end of the class, something like that.
So based on the requirement, we are going to work on those. But initially, so if the method is not required, we can make as a read only. But so we need to identify where exactly we want to work. So now you are not going to identify, but in the real-time example, you definitely are going to find a solution. So after writing some lines of code, okay, in this case, we need to define the transaction because we need to handle some exception. So those scenarios you are going to get, then you are going to define the transaction. But if I'm going to explain here, I don't have much code to explain where exactly we can run it.
Okay. Okay, sir. But this
the concept is same.
thing, okay, but the cascade thing, just explain in at least 10-15 minutes in the next class, because they are even
Yeah, we can have one class.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow.